we're going to start our work on opening play by studying some games where some kind of opening disaster happened. In order to understand what can cause a bad opening play and why some players, even very strong ones, can lose very fast, I have selected a couple of miniatures to begin with, and even, as I said, even some very strong players are not immune to bad opening play. I would like to start showing you guys a very recent game played between two of the world's strongest players. White is Chinese Grandmaster Wang Hao, and black is Dutch player, Dutch Grandmaster Anish Giri. Both very strong players. Look what happened in this game. Well, Anish Giri played sort of irregular opening with black. He gives the center for white, but, well, he's going to fight back. He played e5 here. If black played g6, then this would be the perch defense. I have played many games with black in this opening, but okay. Anish Giri played e5. This is all very standard theory, I would say. And here bishop e7. There are thousands of games played in this line. It's a little bit passive for black, in my opinion, but as usual, and as I'm going to say many times during these lessons, you can play almost anything as long as you have studied your line carefully, and well, you know some details, some subtleties, some small things and you understand how to play the defense as a whole. It's not necessary to memorize many moves, but you should understand the ideas of your opening. So even not so classic openings like this can be played without fear. But here Anish Giri started provocative play with e takes d4, and this is not a very common move. It's much more common bishop e7. And now Wang Hao took with the queen, which is very interesting. Usually it's not so good to take with the queen on d4 on most openings, but here there is a small or big, maybe big detail that the knight on b8 can no longer go to c6. So the queen is well centralized, and it's most importantly, it's not easy to threaten this queen. So the queen is very well placed, and white is ready to move the c1 bishop and go for a long castling. And this is already a strange play by black, but nothing really strange or dramatic seems to be happening with black. But now take a moment and try to think what are white's possible actions in this position. Take a pause on the video if you can, and take a look and think for yourself, what would you play with white? Wang Hao took a very brave decision in this position. He could play well, many normal moves like suppose castling, or I don't know, maybe bishop g5. All this is pretty standard. Well, white would have a small advantage in any case, but he decided to go for dramatic piece sacrifice. Quite interesting. Bishop takes f7 check, and after king takes f7, knight g5, and this looks very strong at first sight because black is in dire straits here. Of course, after a move like king f8, he's just losing the queen. After knight e6, king g8 is also losing. White can play queen c4 and take on d5, and this is just winning on the spot. What else? King e8 seems to be losing the queen due to knight e6, right? And after king g6, this looks at first sight the most sensible move, but it's just losing immediately also after f4, and white has a nasty attack here. It's just f5 coming, and the king on g6 is it's just going to be checkmated. So, well, have no illusions. I'm sure that I'm more than 100% sure that Anish Giri had seen this possibility in his homework, and actually black, of course, has a way not to lose the queen here. It's king e8, and after 96, and then what we call an intermediate move, c5, threatening white's queen, and now there is he can move his d8 queen afterwards, so he's not losing the queen. And as I said, he didn't fail to spot this tactical possibility for white. But what was his mistake? Let's continue a little bit. White played queen d1, which is normal. Queen b6, and now knight takes g7, check, sorry, king f7, knight f5. So what happens here? White has 3 pawns for the attack, and 3 pawns for the piece, and with some interesting attack. And well, black is a piece up, but his king is a little bit damaged. So this is a very, very dangerous position for black. But why did Anish Giri enter this line? Well, what can I can only guess what happened here. But if you turn on the engines here, or Houdini, or some other engine, they will tell you that black is at least equal in this position. So the computers evaluate this position as between equal and a slight advantage for black. So what he probably missed here is that, well, maybe scientifically the position is not bad for black. It's playable. Well, it's more or less equal, maybe balanced. But what he missed here, and what is going to make him lose a very fast game, is that he probably didn't understand how difficult it is to play this position with black. It's much more easier to play with white. And this is something you should count whenever you are analyzing one position or choosing an opening system. How easy the moves come, or do you understand the position? So this may be very easy for a computer to play with black, but for a human this is impossible. It's much easier to play with white. So even though the position is probably balanced, the chances that white is going to win is very, very high. Are very, very high here. So that's what happened after some normal moves. Well, no mistakes whatsoever. He could play a number of moves here, for instance, rook g8, but he cannot solve the main problem of the position, which is long-term attack on his king, and there is no immediate escape. Black has to play many precise moves in order to survive, and this is not easy in a real game. So he played an interesting move here, actually, d5, sacrificing a pawn to well, free his piece. Actually, I made a mistake here, because I told you guys that white has 3 pawns for the attack, and this is not true. White has 2 pawns. Now white is going to have 3 pawns for the piece. So, well, white was on a material deficit here, although the attack clearly compensates. And now, so in order to free his piece, he played d5. Knight takes d5, rook on d5, check. And now, again, take a moment to see how would you play with black here, because now black has to make the only move, and only move here would be queen e6, and the position is, well, it's defensible. White has no immediate ways to explore black's king. Probably is going to play queen d1 and rook g8, and well, the position remains playable, although I still say that it's much easier to play with white, so the position is still very dangerous, although it's probably balanced. So here Anishigiri made the decisive mistake, king d8, and after bishop g5, surprisingly, or maybe not so surprisingly, he's already lost here because he cannot move any piece. He's totally tied up. So the game finished queen g6, rook d1, classy move. He cannot take on g5 due to, well, knight d6 check and x-ray on the queen. And he played rook g8, f4, and this is complete massacre. He's just advancing everything. He played desperate a5 in order to play rook a6. This is just desperation. Took on g8, rook a6. He's just agonizing here. Rook e8, rook g6, and classical, very nice move, final move, this e6, sacrificing the queen. And after, of course, if rook takes g8, he takes d7 check, and then d8 queen, and he can resign here. Actually, he resigned after e6. So why did black lose this game? First, irregular opening. These are more or less some rules in order to lose a game with black. With whites, I can say that it's much more difficult to lose fast. But with black, there are some rules, and he followed these rules. He played a regular opening, very risky and provocative play, and he did not understand fully how difficult it was to play the position, even though the computer probably told him his homework that the position was playable.